Our Miles for Memories moments are heard on Tuesdays at 8:54 on 95.3 WBCK. Occasionally, we want a little more time to find out what the heck's going on. And today is one of those days. Sherry Sherbin is back with us from Miles for Memories to talk about money and how. We'll get to that coming up in just a second. Sherry and I get in the same room, and we start talking, and all of a sudden, there's dead air because we're too busy talking with each other. We're having too much fun.
It's so true.
Oh, yeah, there's a show going on. I guess we're supposed to do that. So here we are. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here today.
Of course.
So, Miles from Memories, is it my perception, or is it really true that this effort is growing and growing and growing?
This effort is growing and growing and growing. And the biggest reason is because there's a huge core of volunteers that are committed to having an impact on those that are dealing with dementia, whether it's the individual themselves or whether it's their family members. You know, sometimes we forget about the caregiver, and they give up so much of themselves, their time, their talent, their dollars to care for those that they love.
And that's a big component of this, that those who end up as caregivers, usually loved ones, relatives, friends, etc., are riding this roller coaster as well, and it becomes taxing for them too.
Right. Well, you know, one of the things that we forget sometimes is that when you become a caregiver and you're giving of more than 24 to 40 hours a week of your time for your loved one, we also affect our bank accounts. And at a minimum, it's usually $5,600 a year that we are adding to the pot of caring for our loved one, whether it's picking up coffee or a donut or somebody's laundry, or they need some toothpaste on the way home. All of those little things add up. And so they have additional expenses over and above, you know, what they would really be doing to help care for their loved one.
How did Miles for Memories start anyway? I don't know if we've ever talked about that.
Well, one of the most important components of it is that there's a lot of great programs that exist out there, but many of them are more focused at larger picture things. And there was a group of us that really looked at what we could do locally. How could we take dollars that we could raise locally and create programs that help the individual right where they are today? So, you know, they're in the midst of what they're dealing with. So let's find a program that's going to, or create a program, because that's basically what we're doing, that's going to help them right now. And, you know, it's not going to cure the disease right now, but it's going to increase their level of living. Life enrichment is going to be increased. The value to the caregiver is going to be increased. And, you know, give them some things that we know that they have that they can still do.
And this isn't to say that Miles for Memories at all overlooks the notion of trying to work on the research part and the cure part.
Right. So we do have a component of the dollars that we raise that go towards research. The focus of our research dollars are actually on the other side, which are prevention. So if we can help to slow down the progression of the disease or prevent the disease in the process, that's an added bonus in the whole process.
Also, part of what Miles for Memories is doing has to do with technology, and you've heard a little bit about that over the course of our Miles for Memories moments, and there's been a big shot in the arm with that. We'll get to that coming up in just a minute. Those details coming right up on 95.3 WBCK. We're here with Sherry Sherbin. We're talking about Miles for Memories in perhaps a little bit more depth than we usually do. We like to, on Tuesdays, bring you that little nugget of info, and maybe it's food for thought, maybe it is an event or something that's related to Miles for Memories. Here today, we're delving into it a little bit more. We've talked about technology in those minutes in the past. The notion that technology is out there now, that if you want it, your loved one who may at some point wander and be encountered by a professional, a law enforcement professional who's trying to find them and bring them home, could more easily bring them home if the technology were employed.
Right.
What is that technology?
All right. So essentially what we're doing is working with a couple of different companies to create current technology and transitioning it a little bit to better meet the needs of what we're trying to do with the dementia patient. And so we have a couple of different things. We've talked a little bit about the Help Home program, and that is a database system through the Calhoun County Dispatch Authority whereby someone can register their loved one. If they go wandering, when they call 911, that information will come up on the screens that are in their cars. They know what the person looks like, how they answer to folks, where they think they live, and emergency contacts happen to be. So as soon as we find them, we can call their emergency contacts and take them home instead of to the emergency room. Great place for them to go.
Well, and think about how much time that saves. I mean, in the old way, were there a case like this, a call like this that a law enforcement officer would have to deal with? Now you're in the position of trying to figure out who is this person, where should I be taking them, et cetera, what do they need, while dealing with what might be a situation in which that person is agitated. Boy, this really cuts right through the red tape, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And as part of that, we've also provided, by working with local law enforcement, kind of a list of different things that they should consider as they approach this individual and how they might be able to respond to this individual and make that whole process go a little easier, too.
So this program, this Help Home program, is voluntary, right? You don't have to do it, but if you'd like to, boy, wouldn't that be something to have that technology?
Exactly. And now with this new tech program, which I can say most wonderfully thank yous to the Battle Creek Community Foundation and working with Adam and Annette and bringing this all together, those dollars that we have been able to achieve through the Michigan Health Endowment Fund, we can now take that program and expand it and accomplish it in just a couple of years instead of what we thought was going to take 5 or 6.
Wow.
So we now have been able to add a couple of mobile units where we can go to different locations to start registering folks and get some additional information for what we're also referring to as our Senior ID program. And with the Senior ID program, it adds a couple of components to the process. So now we can also videotape the loved one answering certain questions. We can provide a set of fingerprints. We can provide a printed picture ID that they can also then take with them wherever they might go. And then the new added component that we have just about finished working on is the app that you can have added to your phone.
Oh, my.
So with this, once they're registered in the program, we shoot it right to the app. We also give it to them on a thumb drive, and they can take that with them, let's say, on vacation. So if they get lost in Disneyland, hopefully they get to go, so that's kind of fun.
Right.
They can work with the authorities in that location. They know what the person looks like, sounds like, how they respond. And if you're not taking them with you, as an example, and your loved one goes wandering, you can update that information so the emergency contact's not you in Disneyland, but rather someone that is here locally that can go ahead and respond to that.
Oh, wow. Think about that.
I know.
So is this cutting edge nationally? I would imagine it is.
It doesn't exist, actually. So we're in the process of developing something that is intended for our Calhoun County community. And frankly, all of the things that we've developed with Miles for Memories, should someone want it, we gleefully hand it over to them. I mean, I have no intentions of going over to other communities to do anything, but I certainly will share the information and what we've learned along the way.
Right. I would presume that other entities like Miles for Memories around the country would be ringing your phone to know more about this.
And we would gladly share it. That
is really incredible. So we'll talk more about that in just a minute. As they say, there really is an app for that.
Yes.
95.3 WBCK. Sherry Sherman is here. We're talking about Miles for Memories and a technology grant that they've received. This was a big amount, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's $100,000, $50,000 each of 2 years.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so this helps that Help Home program that we've been talking about.
Right.
And there are other aspects of technology that Miles for Memories can employ with this.
Most definitely. You know, the other added component of that we're in the process of finishing up the development part of right now is a bracelet that we're going to be offering to those in the community. The nicety about the bracelet program is that there is a UPC code that's on the back side of the bracelet that can be read by all of our emergency responders, troopers, patrol cars. The hospitals should be able to read this as well, and we're trying to confirm that now and make sure that that's not going to be an issue. So that, again, if someone is found with this bracelet on, and we're going to be doing some community awareness campaigns so that they know what this different colored bracelet means, and to call 911 so that we can get them the care that they might need and get them returned appropriately. The bracelet is completely waterproof. So once they get used to wearing it and it's on, it doesn't need to be removed. So cleaning it might not be bad, but, general cleaning and care with what you have going on is a great thing. There's 2 different levels of the bracelet. So one level also adds a GPS to it. So, as you progress through the disease and the likelihood of wandering increases, it's one of those added components that we want you to consider in this process. So that, again, allows for, if our loved one goes missing, we can bring them home sooner. So
Find them quickly. Yeah.
I know, to ensure they come home is what the whole concept is. And so we're looking at all the different avenues that we can think of to do just that. It's
like a medic alert bracelet times 1,000 or something. Imagine how far we've come since then. So that UPC code on the bracelet, is that interactive with the app? So, for example, if your loved one has the GPS component, can I open my app on my phone and know where they are right away?
So, yes, it is interactive with the app, which is the really cool part. So if, again, you need to update or change something on the information that you have available, you can do that from the app. You can also add additional information, additional medical information that might be of interest to an emergency responder. So they would be able to know if someone has other chronic conditions or if they're taking other medications and that sort of thing as they respond to this particular individual who's in front of them.
And obviously the waterproof part is important because if you're not inclined to be in the frame of mind to worry about the condition of that, you're not going to.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we needed to figure that out.
Right. And let me add, once we do add the GPS component to the process, it's really more water resistant than completely water, proof.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That does add a little bit different component to the process. But again, doing the dishes shouldn't be an issue, should that be something that you're playing in the water a little bit with.
This particular concept can be applicable to a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
Not just dementia, but if you're diabetic, for example, prone to, blacking out or something, this would be a good thing to have.
Right, most definitely.
Wow.
So, our intentions as we go through the duration of the grant process is to be able to reach out to at least 1,000 people in the community to get them equipped to be able to go forward with this.
And that would help you start to gain some data on how well it's working and tracking its progress.
Right. Yeah. And, the interesting part about this is once someone is registered, that information is theirs and it belongs to them. So the only thing that is maintained is the basic information at the Calhoun County Dispatch Authority in terms of who their emergency contacts happen to be and how we can reach them. They don't hang on to all that other data, just the basics.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some folks out there wondering about, the big brother kind of feeling of it. But really, if you think about the safety aspect, it's just huge.
Right. Yep.
So what's your timeline here to have these things in place? Do you have one set yet?
Well, the length of the grant is a 2-year period in my mind because I like to do things quickly and it doesn't always happen. But we'd like to get going here and then try to get as many into the hands and on the wrists of, the folks as we can by the end of the first year. We have to keep in mind, I have to keep in mind that we only get half the money the first year. So I can't spend it all the first year. So I have to pace, my thought process. And really everybody else who's helping to work on this is super excited about, moving it forward and what can we do and how do we keep this going in the right direction.
I understand spending money is usually no trouble on my side of things too. Pace yourself, Piet. Yeah, it can be tough, but what an exciting thing.
Yes.
And I still am thinking you're going to be getting calls and emails and things from all over the country wanting to know more about this. This is tremendous. It's happening right here.
Right here.
In Calhoun County with Miles for Memory. So congratulations
thank you.
On that great progress that you're making. So we have rock event coming up soon, and of course the main event in September. This is all part of what you do.
Right. So all these different events do two things. One, they help to raise dollars for what we're doing and keep getting this into the hands of the folks in the community. But secondarily, it raises awareness about what's happening. And as we look at what's going on in Calhoun County, if we project data right now out to about the year 2050, we're going to have over 11,000 people in Calhoun County that are impacted directly by dementia of some form. So let's get a handle on it now and try to change that trajectory somewhat through movement, which is one of those therapies that has indicated that it is showing some effect in this whole process. And that's really what we're trying to do.
All right, and right, the notion that there are things we can be doing. I'm still reeling from the 11,000 number, first of all, but and the ripple effects of that.
Right.
Imagine what the number really is once it stretches out. But all right, so that is an incredible thing. You actually did a research update recently with some doctors with whom you've been working at Michigan State. We hope to be talking with one of those doctors in a few weeks or so. So we'll look forward to that and talk about the research side of this thing, too.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Congratulations on all this work, and Miles from Memories goes on. More details, of course, you just type Miles from Memories in the search box on Facebook and click the like there, then the updates from Miles from Memories will show up in your news feed there on Facebook.
And many thanks to all of the agencies and organizations that partner with us in this process so we can continue this all-volunteer effort in such a significant way.
Miles for Memories. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Talk again soon. Of course, Miles for Memories moments every Tuesday at 8:54 on 95.3 WBCK.